I came home after 5 years at war and found out my wife had a new husband. If you want. I didn't tell anyone I was coming home early. Not my parents. Not my friends. Not even my wife. After 5 years overseas, you learn not to announce things until they're real. Orders change. Flights get cancelled. People disappear. I wanted to see her face when she opened the door. I thought that moment would make everything worth it. I landed on a Thursday morning. Still wearing civilian clothes that didn't quite fit right anymore. The airport felt too loud, too casual. People complaining about delays like the world hadn't been burning somewhere else. I rented a car and drove straight to the house. Our house. The one we bought 2 months before I deployed. Beige siding. Blue door. Small oak tree in the front yard we planted together. Except the oak was bigger now. And there was a different car in the driveway. A newer one. I told myself not to jump to conclusions. I'd spent years training my brain not to panic over incomplete information. Maybe a friend was visiting. Maybe family. Maybe I was just tired. I parked down the street and walked up slowly. The porch light was on. That part felt normal. I knocked. A man opened the door. He was barefoot. Wearing sweatpants. Comfortable in a way you only get in your own home. We stared at each other for a second too long. "Can I help you?" he asked. I looked past him. At the living room. Our couch was gone. Replaced with something gray and modern. The pictures on the wall weren't ours. Different frames. Different smiles. And then she walked into view. My wife. Emily. She froze when she saw me. Her face didn't light up. She didn't run. She didn't even speak. She just went pale. "Who is it?" the man asked, turning to her. She swallowed. "Oh my God," she whispered. You're home." That's when I knew. She invited me inside. Not because she wanted to. Because she didn't know what else to do. The man, her husband, I would later learn, stood awkwardly by the counter while she tried to explain something that didn't have an explanation. "I thought you were dead," she said. That was her first sentence. Not "I missed you." Not "I'm sorry." Dead. "I got the letter," she continued, hands shaking. "The one from the unit. They said there was an incident. That you were listed as missing. Then presumed." "I wasn't," I said calmly. My voice surprised me. It sounded steady. Flat. "I was in a hospital in Germany," I added. Unconscious. Then reassigned. Communication wasn't exactly reliable. She started crying. The man looked between us like he'd accidentally walked into a crime scene. "You said he wasn't coming back," he said quietly. She didn't answer him. His name was Mark. He was polite. Too polite. He kept apologizing like he'd cut me off in traffic instead of married my wife. "I didn't know," he said. "I swear." She showed me the paperwork. The death notice. The memorial program. I believed him. This wasn't his betrayal. It was hers. Emily tried to explain how lonely she'd been. How hard it was. How everyone told her to move on. How 5 years was a long time. She talked like I wasn't sitting right there. Like I was still a ghost. I didn't yell. I didn't ask questions. I just listened. That's something the war taught me. I left that night. Didn't take anything. Didn't fight. Didn't argue. I drove to my parents' house and slept in my childhood bedroom, staring at the ceiling until morning. The next few weeks were a blur of paperwork. Turns out being declared dead, almost dead, is complicated. My benefits were frozen. My bank accounts closed. My marriage, legally dissolved. She had filed for death-related spousal closure. That's what the lawyer called it. Closure. She had mourned me. Buried me. Replaced me. And now I was back. Inconveniently alive. Emily called every day at first. Crying. Apologizing. Saying she never stopped loving me. Then less. Then not at all. Mark moved out. Then moved back in. I watched it all from a distance, like I was still deployed, observing a life that no longer belonged to me. Eventually, I stopped answering her calls. Not out of anger. Out of clarity. Here's the part people always ask about. Did I try to get her back? No. Because the woman I married would have waited. Or at least told the truth when I showed up alive. I finalized the divorce quietly. No drama. No public scene. No revenge. Just signatures. She sent one last message after it was done. I hope you find peace, she wrote. I stared at it for a long time before replying. I already did, I typed. It just wasn't with you. I live alone now. Small apartment. Simple routine. No surprises. Sometimes I pass couples holding hands and feel a twinge of something I can't quite name. But I survived a war. I survived being erased. And I learned something important when I knocked on that door and saw a stranger standing where I used to belong. Some people don't betray you loudly. They just move on quietly and hope you never come back to remind them who they were. If you want